Shall we get on to your best bets?
Let's do it. We're kind of in a tough spot here because, even me personally, I'll go ahead and be honest. I don't think we should call it best bets anymore.
Sure.
I think we've lost that title. We were the last 3 weeks picking more games per week, every week, because we thought volume shooting, the more shots you get up, the more chances you have to hit. It worked for 2 weeks, and then we picked 9 games last week, and we went 2-7.
There's some tough beats in there, I will say.
Some really tough beats. KSU had a good lead in the second half. New Mexico State backdoor covered. I think JMU won by 11, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Memphis, for whatever reason, did not care that they made the playoff and decided to lose to Tulane on Friday night.
Indiana goes to overtime, so they can only win by 6, and they do so. The Carolina bet isn't even really a best bet. That was you hedging your emotional bet.
Absolutely.
Just tough.
Michael Van Buren doesn't care enough to score points, and so LSU doesn't cover, plus 9.5. And then shout out to 9, J.J. McCarthy, for not performing against Baltimore.
Yeah.
All that being said, I have no one to blame but myself, and here we are sitting at 18-30-1 at this point in the season. So I've gone to a new way of doing this. I'm going to bank off of my pyramid.
Sure.
I've gone back all the way to week 2 when we had the first pyramid, and I have recorded what the spread would be. Now, this is a very, very basic calculation, but what the spread would be based off of my power ratings for those games, and then had the picks with all of those games. Where, for instance, let's say Philly this weekend is favored by 2.5 points. On my pyramid, I had Philly on the 2nd tier, and I had Detroit on the 4th tier. With the calculation there, I would have had the spread for Philly minus 6.5, meaning there's a 4-point difference between Philly minus 2.5 and Philly 6.5. So I would take Philly minus 2.5. And that's what I'm going to do. That's my first bet of the weekend. I'm going to take Philly minus 2.5 points. It's the biggest point differential between spreads that I have this weekend based off of the pyramid.
Sure.
If you want to know how the pyramid's doing, in the last 4 weeks, the pyramid is 22-14. So plus 8.
We like that a lot.
Before that, when it was week 6 through week 2, 5 weeks, it was 29-39.
But the pyramid has settled a lot.
There were a lot more teams at that point. I haven't figured out how to put a point number on a team in the graveyard yet. And so the teams that have gotten in the graveyard, I avoided away from there being a spread there. So we're still tinkering on that. I'm, of course, going to tinker the numbers to make it look as good as possible, and then we'll go with that going forward. But like I said, in the last 4 weeks, the pyramid is 22-14 picking games. So maybe you could trust it. I don't know. But that being said, I'm going to take Philly minus 2.5 as my first pick this weekend. And then my other two are my other two biggest point differentials, which ironically are the 2 games that we also picked as well. Denver and Kansas City. Denver is a 3.5-point dog. I personally would have the spread at Denver plus 1.5. So I'm going to take Denver plus 3.5.
Sure.
And then we had Seattle, who is a 3.5-point dog. Seattle's my best team on the pyramid. And the Rams sit just 1 tier below. I would have the spread at Seattle plus 0.5. So essentially a pick 'em. I'm going to take Seattle plus 3.5. Those are my 3 ones. Philly minus 2.5 to Denver plus 3.5 and Seattle plus 3.5. Those are my 3 bets for the weekend. We will hope it's a good one. We hope we can get back on track and see a 3-0 week for the first time ever.
I believe.
But at this point, I wouldn't call it a best bet segment, even though it's still up there. We've kind of lost that one.
Well, so Sanders asked the same question pre-show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it was a really bad week. But it was just 1 week, and you had 3 positive weeks the week before. So I was like, we'll give him another week to right the ship, and
Okay.
if you have another below 500 week, we will remove the best, and it'll just go back to your bets.
I'm completely fine with that.
Because bad weeks happen.
Absolutely.
You were on a run, and sure, it wasn't a good week, but I'm not gonna remove best until there's a trend or a run of bad weeks, no matter how bad the week was.
I'm hoping we can see that going forward. The pyramid total through the season so far is 51 and 53, so just below 50%,
It's on the upswing. So.
which is that's obviously a lot better than 18 and 30. I don't know what the percentage would be there.
Sure.
Don't feel like calculating that. But those are my 3 picks for the weekend, and that concludes JP's best bets.